Welcome to the New Hollywood Show. Hey, we're usually bringing you shows every Monday night, but if you haven't seen us in a while, it's because we took a spring break last week. We were on spring break, but we're back. We're back with another one today, and hey, lots to talk about. The Iceman cometh, but the Iceman has gone away. We lost another good one, Val Kilmer. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. We're going to talk about that. Man, yeah, had some good movies. Hey, Hollywood stars. Speaking of Hollywood stars, they're begging Trump. They're begging Trump. Get this.
Please.
Wow.
Please.
Wait, what? I know, right? When Hitler help us. Hitler help us. Like, come on. It's ridiculous. All right. And then, hey, we also got the shrinking theatrical release footprint. It's shrinking. The theaters are going away. We've talked about it before. We're going to talk about it more today in a little bit different angle, in depth. Lots to talk about. All right. Let's dive in. Here we go. Come on. Hello, free thinkers, Hollywood professionals, and creatives worldwide. I am Tatum Shank. We are Hollywood for Freedom, and this is our podcast to stay connected with you, our community of free thinking industry professionals and fellow like-minded patriots. Hey, just to remind you, we are on Rumble exclusively at the moment. Okay, we're on YouTube. We're there. Surprisingly, we're still on YouTube, Apple Podcasts as well. But you will not currently find us on X. I didn't even want to say the name, but just make sure you're finding us on Rumble, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Thanks for nothing, X.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get the boys in here. We got to get going. Lots to talk about. First up, he is a co-founder of Hollywood for Freedom. He is the producer of this show, and he is the always neat and trim in dress and appearance, Mr. Timothy Glover.
Hey, boys. How you doing? Another good show. Had a good spring break last week. I was in Las Vegas with my two boys, my family, and so glad to be back.
So, Tim, it was dapper. That was the definition for dapper, not the word dapper, but the definition. And you just glossed right over it, just like usual. You're a professional, a consummate professional.
I'm not sure exactly what you want me to say. Maybe it's my. You want me to get upset about it? I'm not sure.
No. You just you embody the word dapper to me. You always have. You always will. Even when we've had some, missing.
Yes, he does.
Yes, right. I know, right.
I'm not exactly sure what that means, but.
No, it's a good thing. It's a compliment. No,
okay.
No, you always come across dapper to me. That word, when I think of that word, I think of Tim Glover.
Clean.
All right.
Always neat and trim and in dress and appearance. Anyways, all right, let's get him in. You hear his voice. He's out there. He's another co-founder of Hollywood Freedom. He's an actor, producer. He is a fan of the Henry Cavill Superman. He is Siaka Massaquoi.
I'm out there. Okay, I'm back here. Okay, yeah. Hey, what's going on? Tim, you're looking clean.
Thank you.
You're looking clean, buddy.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm excited for us to talk about our topics today. And I'm sure everyone can see the stash is going on strong.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's still at it. It's awesome.
It's nice. It's starting to show up on my little screen. Starting to show up on my little screen. It's good. Yeah.
Don't forget those old eyes.
Yeah. Even without my glasses, I'm seeing it. Yeah, it's popping out there. It's great. Well, guys.
Speaking of old eyes, guys.
You got some?
You have to get some glasses. You have to get some.
Oh, man.
These are $1.50 glasses from the dollar store that my wife bought me because she's seen me struggle for more and more of late. So now I've got reading glasses and, it's a start. So. Yeah.
See, I just have a genetic problem. You guys are just getting old. It's a difference. That's when you can buy them for $1 at a convenience store. That means it's just getting old. That's all. Sorry.
And I don't care that they're $1.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow. When I put them on, I went, oh wow, that's awesome. Great, thank you.
Oh, the words are appearing. That's good. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I've been buying dollar $50 glasses for a couple of years now. They're all over the house. I don't have an actual prescription.
Yeah.
I refuse to get an actual prescription because then that'll be admitting my
That's
age.
right. Exactly. I'm in the same
But
spot.
those cheaters are good. Those help read things.
Those cheaters.
that are close.
I like that.
Right? Yeah. But hey guys, let's get into it. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll here. We got lots to cover. Let's get into our news and notes from the industry with our good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry, not necessarily in that order. But hey, listen, did you guys notice my outfit here? I don't know if you
No,
caught
I
that.
hadn't noticed.
See that? You see that? You hadn't noticed that, Tim?
I saw that you were wearing
glasses
something,
on.
and you've always
Get your
got something
glasses.
interesting.
That's his old science fair jacket that he had from high school.
That's good. So yeah, this was actually a prop. It's not a real bomber jacket, if you will, but it kind of screams Top Gun, which was
all right, I see it. I see it.
a big film for Mr. Val Kilmer, which is our first article up here. Let's pull this up real quick. This was in the Deadline. Val Kilmer dies.
Wow.
Top Gun Doors and Batman Forever star was 65.
Wow. So
Val
young.
Kilmer. I know, right?
Yeah.
The Juilliard-trained actor with leading mad looks, known for taking on roles that transcended his appearance. He's died. Interesting sentence there. His daughter, Mercedes Kilmer, confirmed to the New York Times the actor had passed away from battling pneumonia. He was 65. Okay, guys. So, not much to say other than it makes you really think back to all the movies that he did and this and that. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But we did want to, give a shout out to Val Kilmer. I liked a lot of his movies. I liked him, and I actually saw him. You guys, I saw him in a theatrical play. It was a musical. It was a musical of Exodus. I don't know. I think it was called Exodus. I'm not sure.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember that? It was at the Kodak Theater at the time. It was the Kodak Theater, and Val Kilmer was Moses, and he was just singing his heart out. And I don't remember much more than that. I mean, I remember thinking, wow, Val Kilmer can sing. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
So
that actually leads.
Yeah. What?
I was going to say that leads me to my favorite Val Kilmer movie of all time, which on IMDb is his first credit, the movie Top Secret, where he played a Elvis type of guy who goes over to France during World War II to perform. And he ends up joining the French Resistance. It's kind of like a Hot Shots airplane type of movie, very slapstick, very silly. And he's singing. And my favorite song was "Shaking the Rug," and it was all these little area rugs he would stand on and then kind of do the Elvis dance. It was so funny. Wow. Oh nice. Yeah, I as a kid, 1984, I was I fell in love with him as an actor. Then I was like, yeah, this guy's cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, he's and he's gonna be missed. He had that trouble recently. Obviously, that the Maverick role was. I mean, that was his real. He kind of his voice thing he was dealing with.
Yeah, and I thought that the last Top Gun was a really good tribute to him. So
I thought that was cool.
It's a nice way to go. That
was a great moment.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I met him when I was in Beverly Hills when I was working at a restaurant down there, and he was having the time of his life. I think it was back in 2008, and he was just having a good time, and it was a lot of celebrities, I guess, there. And I'm like, that's Batman. That's, Top Secret. And he's just cool. We walk past each other and he's like, hey, bud, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing all right, man. Good to see you. He's like, all right. So
that's good.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's talk a little bit more about him in a bit, because we got a little foreshadowing here.
We'll get there.
Something's coming up later probably for that. But let's get into this second bit of news here. Hollywood stars, they're begging. They're begging, Tim.
Yeah.
Who are they begging?
Yeah, well,
do they know who they're begging?
I mentioned this last week, last episode, and the Daily Mail are talking about at the moment. Hollywood stars beg Trump for help after calling him a pig and a petty dictator.
They forgot the other one. Right, there's
many names have been, which I'll get into in a minute. But hundreds of celebrities, including many liberals who are they're mostly liberals, who have previously publicly insulted Donald Trump, are now begging for his help in pushing back against big tech's proposal on AI. President Trump unveiled a massive $500 billion plan to build up artificial intelligence projects in the United States on the first day of his second term. The project, called Stargate, will also create an estimated over 100,000 jobs. The Liberal stars, including Ben Stiller, Olivia Wilde, Cynthia Erivo, Aubrey Plaza, the Witch, Paul McCartney, Mark Ruffalo, and Kate Blanchett, amongst many others, are asking Trump to push back on this. They write that if OpenAI and Google were allowed to do this, it would freely exploit America's creative and knowledge industries, despite OpenAI and Google's substantial revenues and available funds. We firmly believe that America's global AI leadership must not come at the expense of our essential creative industries, the letter says in part. AI companies are asking to undermine this economic and cultural strength by weakening copyright protections for the films, television series, artworks, writings, music, and voices used to train AI models at the core of multi-billion-dollar corporate valuations. So, look, you wish these guys would grow up, you know, but because what they're actually asking for is legitimate. I think it's actually a good thing what they're asking for. Even the way that they put it in their letter, their open letter, is good. It makes sense. It's just that their little child attitudes and the way that they talk to leaders or other people is just pretty on the nose and just not very mature, or doesn't gain them any respect. Stiller has tweeted out, worst message I ever heard President put out to the world, you know, things like that. Olivia Wilde, who, by the way, who is she? I don't really know who she is.
She was married to Jason Sudeikis. That's
is that it? Yeah, of course. Yeah. So despite, I've only ever seen her in like YouTube clips and things that, you know, anyway, but she writes, I despise Donald Trump with all my guts. And his speech last night only confirmed what a pathetic, petulant, dishonest pig he is, she wrote. She goes on with that whole comment. Ron Howard has also tweeted, although we know who he is, a self-serving, dishonest, morally corrupt, bankrupt egomaniac who doesn't care about anything or anyone but his fame and bank account. Mark Ruffalo has also said there is no one keeping America safe from being looted by Trump and Elon. So they make these kind of big statements. They put themselves out there. They look like morons. But then, you know, this letter is decent. They're talking about arguing for that these massive conglomerates, Google and OpenAI, are asking for special government exemptions. When there is no reason to weaken, they're saying that there is no reason to weaken or eliminate the copyright protections, which I agree with. When AI companies can use our copyright material by simply doing what the law requires, negotiating appropriate licenses with copyright holders, just as every other industry does. So fair argument, I would say. And but just you just wish they would grow up, you know, in the way that they present themselves, you know, the rest of the time.
You know, this is an example. I think you're right about growing up, but this is an example of how destructive our conversation in politics has gotten, because we know, and the arrogance of those that when you're in power, you don't have to be nice, or you don't have to be, at the very least, and nice is that kind of funky word, at the very least cordial with the people that you disagree with, so that now when you see the irrespectful, exactly, you see the writing on the wall and what's coming down the pipeline and who's running the show. And like you said, yes, it can be a fair argument, but am I now more willing to listen to anything they have to say after, being called Nazis and being called, white supremacists, which is funny because whatever. But, all these things about myself and friends, including Donald Trump, it's like, you may have a point, a very, very good point, but now the messenger is it's unfortunately may get the message lost because they have lost all their goodwill. And there's a huge part of me that while I understand, wanting to protect the copyright, we talked about this. We had a conversation on our show about AI and everything. It's like, I think at the same time, it can open up more creativity that isn't centralized in places like Hollywood and New York. I think that, a kid in Kentucky or in Tennessee that just has an idea and puts it together can actually now create his own business a lot faster than having to go through the gauntlet of indoctrination that Hollywood is all about. So, I get it to one side, and I also like to say I feel sorry for them and all that. I'd be lying, to be honest with you.
Well, I think it's, they go on and on for years about this. He's Hitler, and he's gonna, you can't put him in power because he's gonna destroy everything and this and that, and he's just like they're just so like adamant that this guy is really like the next coming of Hitler. Like, so if that's true, like, what are you doing now? You're like asking him for things, and you're like,
hey, Hitler.
Hey, can you help us? No, that was just all a show. Right? Come on, it's just crazy. They're so over the top with that stuff. It's just like, give me a break.
The worst thing about it is that even though they knew he wasn't that, and they're putting that message, it's like the damage has already been done because you see what people are doing to Teslas right now. So yes, they can play that game because they're in their ivory tower, but like the ones who it actually affects are the average people on the streets, and people are actually dealing with that right now on both ends. People are about to go to prison for 20 years because they believe that lie. Yeah. So they need to be held accountable in some way. Yeah. So,
and it's just an ongoing, like they've done that, for the last 40 years. I mean, ever since Hitler was here, they've been like, like I think they did it with Reagan, and they did, they just do it with whoever's, in power or potentially in power. Is crazy, but I don't know why we listen to the Hollywood stars.
Well, we shouldn't. But the thing is that I agree with Siaka in that the message can be lost, and I think the point that they make here is that America didn't become a global cultural powerhouse by accident. That our success stems directly from our fundamental respect for IP and copyright that rewards creative, risk-taking and talented and hardworking Americans from every state and territory. For nearly 250 years, US copyright law has balanced creators' rights with the needs of the public, creating the world's most vibrant creative economy. We recommend that the American AI Action Plan uphold existing copyright frameworks to maintain the strength of America's creative knowledge industry and creative and knowledge industries, as well as American cultural influence abroad. Good point. And I just don't want that to get lost in our disdain for these people.
Question, Tim, when they talk about the copyright laws that they're worried about, is there something because I haven't read it, we're going over it right now. Is there something in the new plan that says you can just use anyone's IP? Like, I don't understand kind of where they're coming from. Is that going to change?
Yeah. And that's a good question, Siaka, because, they can make this, moral outcry.
Right.
And it's a straw man, right? It's not real. Look, they're making claims about what Trump may or may not be deciding to do. I actually don't know whether that is Trump's intentions. I would actually be surprised if it was. I mean, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to take away copyright protections. I don't think. But maybe they're right. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's all a straw man. They're just making a big.
Well, I mean, to me, it looks like even more AI is just going to, we've talked about this, is going to cut into the money that these front facing individuals can get because AI can go, okay, well, create a movie where it has Superman versus Batman and an add in Spider-Man, and you don't have to hire any of these actors to be a part of it. You just have the image, kind of conjure up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I would have to look further into it, but I don't know when there are claims of copyright protection, because as far as I understand, that's a law of the land, and AI's invention does not change the ability to have copyright protections. But again, I don't know the full, details on it. So I don't want to speak in surety.
Yeah. It might be something to just keep an eye on and maybe look further into. So, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of the law of the land, do we own Greenland yet? I don't.
Soon enough. Is Greenland in Canada?
Is that still on the agenda? I don't even. All right.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's move on here. Let's the shrinking theater footprint. We've been talking about this. Let's talk more about it. Siaka, what do you got for us on this?
All right. So we have from Deadline, Hollywood's theatrical business at risk of entering negative feedback loop. Wall Street analyst warns. We could have told you that 4 years ago. All right. Hollywood is at risk of entering a negative feedback loop with fewer wide movie releases and a shrinking theater footprint combining to squeeze box office revenue, and veteran media analyst says. In his annual assessment of the theatrical sector, billed as a memo to Hollywood, TD Cohen analyst Doug Kreutz notes that he has taken a bearish stance on the theatrical window for some time. Results from 2024 with gross totals slipping 4% from 2023 to 8.57 billion, the number of wide release down 6% from pre-COVID levels, and other factors have only reinforced his views. We have said for several years now that the outlook for a sustained recovery looks questionable, and that we don't think the existing global theatrical footprint can be supported solely by a handful of blockbuster, Cruz wrote in a 20-page report. The number of screens in the U.S. has declined to about 35,000 from 41,000 before COVID struck in 2020, with exhibitions also facing big challenges in 2023 and 2024 due to the strike. The smaller footprint might help theater owners in the near term, but it could end up hastening the decline of the overall business, Kreutz believes. Downsizing risks having more films skipping theatrical and going directly to streaming service. And now you have all the ingredients for a negative feedback loop. Yes. So as we see right here, and I like how I always find this interesting. We've talked about this topic ad nauseum to a certain extent, but they never put it on the product that's coming out. They never mention the product of what's going on. We live in a free market society. We live in a capitalist society. If the product is good, people will flock to it. So you couple that with the woke ideology in the films that we've seen, and why would anyone go? We talked about theaters shrinking a few weeks ago, and it's like, well, theaters have to come up with more creative ways for people to want to go there, because it's the product. The product is what the problem is, not the strikes. It's not because of COVID. I'm sorry.
Right.
No one wants to go see a movie where they're being lectured at over and over because of their political beliefs, their faith, or the fact that they're men. They want to go and escape. Movies were supposed to be escapism. That's why people started going. So, and they were supposed to be cost effective for the working man. And they priced those people out of, pricing a lot of people out of being able to go to the movie. So they have a bigger problem than just a negative feedback loop. And they're hiding the truth behind, they're kind of hiding behind statistics and saying, well, the numbers have shrank, COVID and it can't just sustain on blockbusters. Well, part of that is true, but I think the major culprit is the fact they're making worse movies. The sequels, prequels, and reimaginings are not what made the movies exciting and popular in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, there's just nothing to go see. There's just nothing to see in the theater. There just isn't.
Amelia Perez. That was
one. Literally none of those Oscar nominations. I have no interest whatsoever in going to the theater. Stinking Marvel. I don't even. They got the Thunderbolts, the new one coming out, Thunderbolts. It's like it's got an indie feel to it. I don't care. I don't care anymore about they're just ruining things. But you're right, Siaka. There's nothing to go see. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and look, they're changing the the way that we do, just life. We don't, like I said a few weeks ago, there's only so many times that when you're going out for a date night and you're used to going to the movies, but you go there and there's nothing there. There's only so many times you're going to do that before it's not even a consideration to go to the movies anymore. And, I was speaking to my sons on the weekend and, they don't even go, they're not even interested in movies anymore. Like there's other things that they watch anime and various things, but they know that there's nothing in the cinemas for them most of the time. So it's just it just becomes something that we don't do anymore, which is really sad. That sort of tradition is dying.
Well, the other side is we talk about the great Val Kilmer, and you can talk about guys like Tom Cruise and Tim, your article, they have made themselves also unlikable. Yeah. So even if there is a movie that comes out that may look okay, as soon as I see somebody who, I see Mark Ruffalo and I'm like, nah, I'm okay.
That guy.
I'm like, nope. I just so they've put themselves in a position where our movie stars from the early 2000s and earlier, they came off as these like super likable, man, I would love to hang out with these people.
Yeah.
Now it's like I don't even want to sniff anything that had to do with Avengers. The last Avengers is like I've been holding my nose because he's played Hulk just because everyone else is in it, right? So it's not just COVID, it's not just the theaters are closing down because it's these people have become insufferable. Like, why would I want to sit and watch you for 2.5 hours? Like,
they've definitely lost. They've lost the magic and charm of Hollywood. Where you look at Tom Cruise. He doesn't get involved in a lot of these things. He sticks to his job. He does a great job, and he's got a good work ethic, and that's what he's known for. He doesn't get involved in all of these other things. He doesn't seem to be used as some sort of pawn for this propaganda. Although I don't know whether he is or isn't, but he doesn't seem to get involved.
That's the point.
And that used to be the old way where the stars used to ride above all of these things, and we used to be able to escape with these people. And but they've lost that. These guys have no kind of self-respect. I think.
Self-awareness.
So I've got these two AMC cards. They were like a birthday gift or something, right? And I just haven't used them because there's nothing to see now. But you mentioned Tom Cruise. That's right. He's got that second part of the Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning or whatever coming out. Maybe that might be pull me to the theater because I got the card.
Diamond hands, buddy. Hold on to him. Right. And even that Mission Impossible, it's like, oh man, when I go and see him now, it's like, he's getting old. He shouldn't be doing that. Like, so it's like that's what it looks like to me. I'm like, the old man's hurting himself. But
yeah. Well, speaking of the Avengers, like all the 6 or 7 of them did some political ad for Kamala. They were supporting. It's just like, oh god, you just have to watch the movies without trying not to think about that. It's just like, it's so hard.
To your point, Siaka, about the product, one of the best products that we've seen in the last few years was Top Gun Maverick, right?
Yeah.
And look at the numbers. It grossed worldwide. It grossed $1.4 billion.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Doesn't that just speak to, it was just a great family film, and Val Kilmer, like we mentioned, Val Kilmer got a great honor, send off really. But that speaks to the product. When people actually want the product, they're going to go in droves to go and see it. And that's a great example of that.
And the reverse of that, Snow White's going to lose like 100. Right. Guys, I got a curveball for you two right here. This is a new segment of the show. It's about to happen right now. It's an impromptu guest segment. I promised this person that they could be on the show. They saw a little Xavier making his appearance a few weeks back.
Okay.
So we got a little guest. We got a guest, fourth co-host for the show.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skylar Shank.
All right. Skylar Shank. Hello. Yes. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome, Skylar.
Hey, Skylar.
Are you going to do Daddy's job and host the show?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how it goes. It can't be any worse than what he's been doing. So let's do it.
Daddy's doing a great job, Skylar.
Donate 10,000 to Hollywood for Freedom so my dad can shave his head.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, she's on board with that. That's good. Appreciate that.
Nice
I'm
work,
sure
Dad.
she wants to see it.
That's the one I thought would have the most trouble with me shaving my head, which is still the case. But hey, that makes a great point. If you do donate $10,000 to the new Hollywood show, you become a sponsor, automatic sponsor. We'll mention you on the show. I will shave my head and we'll be off and running with a lot more episodes. We do appreciate your guys' support out there that are sponsoring on a monthly basis, whether it's $25, $50, $100. Those monthly donations are helpful. We want more. If you guys can go to our website, hollywoodforfreedom.com, and you donate there, hit the donate button, become a sponsor for the show, or just be a monthly donor to support us. That's awesome. hollywoodforfreedom.com. If you're an industry professional or supporter, you can join the website for free, join the database, for free. But you do that all through the website, and we would really appreciate your support moving forward here. All right. So there's another new segment for you. Curveball guys.
Love it.
Yeah, a little guest appearance, fourth co-host. So hey, let's keep moving. Let's go. Oh man, my goal for the day. I'm looking at that clock. Tim's poll. We got a Tim's poll. Tim's poll. Speaking of witches, is that the poll? What's the poll? Tim's poll. What do you got, Tim?